Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, max out your savings. The more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Plus, get free home delivery on any smart bed with base. Limited time. Check it out at a Sleep Number store near you or at sleepnumber.com today.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Appreciate you hanging out with us here. We got JD Pickell coming up in 15 minutes. Do some SEC football power rankings coming up at the bottom of the hour as well. I want to start the hour with some Saints discussion. They finally made it to the bye week. This is something that we were looking at really all of the offseason, summer into training camp as a potential line of delineation between the beginning of the season, where you're really trying to figure out just like what you got. We don't know what we got at quarterback. We don't know what we got at head coach. We don't know what we got in terms of all these rookies. You really, what do we got? We don't know. And you got a tough start that involves some really difficult road games. You knew it was going to be tough to go on the road to Seattle. Knew it was going to be tough to go on the road to Buffalo. Now it's a chance to reset. We had pointed really to this week as the week for Tyler Shuck potentially to take over, depending on how the early portion of the season went. And now we're here. And the win-loss record's terrible. The quarterback change has been made. Some of the returns on the young players have been positive. Some of them have been negative. And you've made a couple of significant trades in terms of your current roster. You traded away a starter on the offensive line and your most explosive pass catcher. So the circumstances are different now than they were in August. That's fair to say. But you look at the second half of the schedule, and it's extremely manageable. You can manage games against the Titans and Jets and Panthers. You've got home games that you feel like you should have a chance to compete in, even if they're against teams that have a better record than you. So you've reached a point now where we can kind of reset expectation based on what we know. Tough to set expectations for this team August the 3rd. I don't know who the quarterback is. I don't know what the coach does. I don't know how well the defense is going to take, especially with all those veterans too. Brandon Staley, I don't know what their injury status is going to be. There's so many variables. You know it's not going to be great, but like, what can you really pinpoint? Well, now we've got more to look at. And of course, that discussion is going to start with Tyler Shuck, and I'm willing to have that discussion now. Like, what are you looking for? Well, first, let's look back at what we saw in his start. I watched it every snap, and I liked what I saw. I thought he was efficient, thought he was effective, thought he took some shots down the field, thought that he moved the offense. Am I going to go nuts and throw an absolute jubilation of a party because they scored 17 points? No. But the passing chart I very much enjoyed. Here's why. I've got it pulled up for Pro Football Focus, and I'll talk you through it. He only threw 2 passes behind the line of scrimmage. Only 2. One outside the numbers, got blown up for a loss of 2, and one inside the numbers that went for 26 yards. But if you remember, with Spencer Rattler early in the season, it was just too much. Too much dink and dunk, dink and dunk, dink and dunk. That's all you saw. Take a shot. It just wasn't happening early. Well, Tyler Shuck wasn't just dinking and dunking. He only threw the ball inside behind the line of scrimmage twice. Now you look at the next set of passes, which is under 10 yards, between the line of scrimmage and 10 yards. These are your quick passes, your quick game, your screens just beyond the line of scrimmage, your quick outs, your short yardage throws. And he was very efficient with those. 0 to 10, he was 11 of 14 in the game. And got the ball out quickly where it needed to go. But it wasn't all that he did. Because if you look beyond 10 yards, He was 4 of 5 between 10 and 20 yards, one of the touchdowns to Juwan Johnson. And then if you go between 10 yards and further, so longer than 10 yards, he really was effective. He was 6 out of, let me make sure my math's right, 6 out of that's 7, 6 out of 10, and had a pair of touchdowns, including the deep ball to Olave for 62 yards. If you look at throws beyond 20 yards down the field, he hit a pair of those, and they combined for 104 yards. So he didn't just dink and dunk like you saw from Rattler. He did stretch the field. He did hit big plays. He was fairly effective at all levels of the field. So that's a tiny sample size. Tiny in one game against Carolina. But it's encouraging, and it's a difference from Spencer Rattler. So to me, as I look at Shuck, I want to see him continue to hit all levels of the field, hit big plays, and be efficient when you are checking it down. And to me, you're going 13 of 16 total under 10 yards, and you're hitting 2 big plays down the field. I like that rhythm. I like that chart. I like all those things when it comes to running the offense. So I like that from Shuck. I want to see a little bit more of that in the second half of the season. The other guy I wanted to profile today in terms of looking towards the second half of the season is Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks has played 641 snaps at left tackle for you to this point. If you just look at his Pro Football Focus grades, respectable. 68.3 overall in blocking, 67 overall in run blocking, 68.9 in pass blocking. One thing that stands out there, it's all balanced. It's all pretty good. I know we've got a portion listening to this that really only does Saints, got a portion listening to this that listens to the whole show, terrestrial radio, does LSU and Saints. The Pro Football Focus grades, when we talk about LSU and talk about the Saints, are very different. College kids have higher grades. They're playing against lesser competition at times. You see a lot of 70s and 80s and even into the low 90s at times. That's very, very, very rare in the NFL. You live in the upper 60s, low 70s, high 70s, up to 80. That's quality work. And Kelvin Banks has given you that in the run game and the passing game. There's one area I would really like to see Kelvin Banks clean up. He has been flagged 7 times. It's not even once a game. I need that number to come down. And I think that's realistic when you consider that he's gaining experience and he's now seen more than he did early in the season. Sometimes you're getting holding calls. Sometimes it's a false start. You got a guy across from you that's a really good pass rusher. You're trying to get a head start. Like, I get it. That's too many penalties. I like the blocking grades. When that ball snapped and you're asked to do a job, I like what he's doing to this point. Penalties need to come down a little bit for Kelvin Banks, and that's something I'm looking at. And as far as defense goes, there are a couple of young players who I think have really impressed to this point that you want to see more of. I love Danny Stutzman and the way he has played the run. It's something I've noticed on tape. Not on tape. When I'm watching the games. And it's something that Pro Football Focus agrees with. 76.1 in terms of his run defense. Tackling's got to improve a little bit. It's only a 47 grade, and I think he's going to get more snaps. You've only seen 63 total snaps in 6 games from Stutzman. I think that number might double in the second half of the season. It would not surprise me to see Stutzman finish with somewhere in the neighborhood of 180 snaps this year. I'm looking at that linebacker spot. I'm looking at an aging Demario Davis, who, by the way, played brilliant football in Carolina and still has something in the tank and should be out there to show young players how you're supposed to play down in and down out and to help this team to try to win games. But I think you're going to see Stutzman more. And I love the way he's played against the run. And then I just need more consistency from Jonas Sanker on the defensive side. Like, some of the grades are good week to week. Some of the playmaking has been good. He's been around the football for some turnovers. Also, his tackling grade at this point is 29.5. That's got to improve. You can't miss that many tackles. He's at a missed tackle percentage right now of 18%, and they're crediting him to this point with 10 missed tackles. That's second on the team. to Demario Davis, who, oh, by the way, is in way more often and way more reps than Jonas Sanker, so that's to be expected. So that's kind of a rudimentary checklist of what I'm looking for New Orleans. Shuck, I want to see all levels, not just checkdowns, all levels be efficient. He was in this game. And then I want to see Banks limit those penalties, continue to play at the level he is outside of the penalties. And then defensively, more from Stutzman in terms of reps and tackling, better tackling from Sanker. I'm cutting these things down into little bitty sample sizes. Like, I'm cutting these things down into small things you're looking for. I don't think it's realistic to look at this and go, well, I look at the Saints in the second half and go, I think they should win 5 games. Easy now. Like, they got to do a lot of things to build towards that. And I'm looking at young players. Shuck's the most important. Banks is probably second. Then you look at these young defensive players that are going to end up having to be the heir apparent to some guys that have played a lot of football. That's what I'm looking to see over the second half of the season for the New Orleans Saints. Not to put everything on Pro Football Focus, but it's a good tool that I have. And now the sample size is big enough with half the season in the rearview mirror, which you're looking at 10 games here. Okay, what do we got? And that's what I'm looking for in the final 7 games of the season for the Saints. If you're looking for our Saints content, you can find it Hunt on Saints wherever you find your podcast. Also, would love to hear, love to see you. Check it out, LouisianaSports.net, where Ross Jackson has all of our Saints coverage each and every day. We'll step aside, come back. JD Pickell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Spend a lot of time in the bathroom. Think about the mornings. Think about the time you're getting ready to get out of the house. What if you could transform that bathroom? That's not just the shower, not just the bathtub. They can handle your floors. They can do the vanity. It can be an entire bathroom renovation. David Vaughn and his team can do it. That's not something you want to just call up the local handyman. Hey, can you put together a vanity for me? That's a tall order. Why don't you call the company that's been doing it for 30 years? Call the company that's licensed, bonded, insured. Call the company that's got a master plumber on site. If you're dealing with taking in or taking out or putting in a shower, dealing with a tub to shower conversion, let David Vaughn and One Bath and Closets handle everything for you. If you're looking for financing, they've got it. 0%, same as cash, up to 18 months if you qualify for that. Start with a consultation. That doesn't cost you anything. It's David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check out their work, builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Always great to work with local folks. And look, Joey Blanchard and the folks over at Renaissance Homes and Pools are as local as it gets. If you're looking for the pool of your dreams, always wanted that outdoor kitchen and entertaining space, Renaissance Homes and Pools can help you out with that. Check it out, builtbyrenaissance.com. Let's go out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. JD Pickell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports, with us every single Wednesday. JD, how we doing?
Dude, better from one of those pools you're talking about. Every week, man, you tee it up, and I'm like, all right, when we get this weather back right in Nashville. So we got any heated pools we're working with here? Is that
absolutely can make that happen over at Renaissance.
Okay.
That's
I'm in.
That's part of the gig. Let's talk some football. Look, I'm curious your thoughts on Alabama. My hatred for Alabama notwithstanding, I think Ty Simpson's awesome. I think Kalen DeWar's a really good coach. I think they've got a good team. I'm concerned about their ability to run the ball at all and whether or not you can go win 3 or 4 playoff games with no ground game. How do you feel about them?
I think the point you made at the end there of them winning 3 or 4 playoff games with no ground game, I feel more hesitant saying that with certainty about Alabama. But in regards to what they have in front of them, like, we got a question on the show today of like, hey, could Alabama maybe slip up against Oklahoma and then weird things happen at Auburn? Like, I think the character of this Alabama team we've seen too many times is far too strong for them to lose multiple games in a row to finish the regular season. That's one part of it. And also, Hunt, like, I think we keep talking about there being no perfect team, there being no juggernaut. And I'm like, okay, so if everyone has weaknesses, who has the best strengths? And you talk about Ohio State, which is absolutely fair. A&M deserves all the credit in the world, Indiana. But I'm looking at Alabama, and I'm like, man, they might have the strongest strength in college football wearing number 15. Like, as long as that dude's pulling the trigger, we saw them beat Georgia when Georgia ran for 2 bills on them. Like, Bama's not been great running the ball or stopping the run. So I think Ty Simpson, to put a finer point on this, might just be your ace of spades here when you're talking about Bama in the long term.
Fernando Mendoza might be that as well for Indiana. Certainly put on the Superman cape at the end of that game. You giving them credit for that's just a gutty win, or you say, hey, you probably don't need to be playing with your food against Penn State?
I think Penn State's a lot more talented than people realize. Like, I know it's gone south, and I know that Drew Aller's not the quarterback, and James Franklin gets paid $50 million to leave, but like, still a lot of dudes that are going to be wearing NFL jerseys next year on that roster, or in the future at least. So, to me, I think it is next to impossible in modern college football to bring your fastball every week. Like, it's 18 to 22-year-olds with a ball that's shaped funny and bounces weird. You got to travel to play games. So, like, you're not going to bring your best stuff every week. And to be able to get it done when you're not throwing 100 off the mound, to me, I'm like, okay, I learned a lot about the grit that Indiana team had. Like, they blew everybody out, like 30-plus was the average margin of victory. I was actually impressed by the ability to grit your teeth and go get a win when you didn't have your best offensive player in Elijah Surratt, and you didn't have your best day at the office, period.
Same thing go for Oregon then, going in the rain in Iowa City?
Yeah, I was impressed Oregon could run the football against Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, 261 on the ground. I'm like, okay. Also, without your 2 best offensive weapons in Sadiq and DeCorian Moore in street clothes for that one, like, I don't want to do the thing where it's okay if you don't play your best so long as you win. But I really do think that the things you saw from Indiana and Oregon in both those games respectively, like, I think those have staying power to them. Like, running for 261 against Iowa, if you can do that against that team in the rain, you can do that, I think, against most teams in college football, period. So, another spot where I'm like, I wish you had been more definitive, but we can't talk about Oregon and that being a trap game all week long, and then when they win a game in a trappy fashion saying, you should have beat them by more. Like, to me, I think that's kind of a double standard. I was impressed by the Ducks.
All right, let's move forward to the week to come here in college football. I guess I'll start with Notre Dame at Pitt. Notre Dame is 7-2. They're kind of doing what everybody thought they would do. How are we feeling about the Irish right now?
I think the fact they're at number 9 in these most recent rankings is really intriguing. Like, if Notre Dame was at 13 and trying to claw their way into that top 10, I would feel a little bit less easy. But like the committee's saying right now, at Notre Dame, we think you're a good football team. Like, if you go win all these games that you have left to play by 30-plus, it's going to be very difficult to sit in that room with a straight face as a committee member and say, I think we should drop Notre Dame. Even with Texas and their opportunity to gain some ground and Oklahoma to gain some ground, like, I really think that Notre Dame being at that 9 spot is a really nice head start, if you will, in this month of November for teams they're going to have to beat to get in the college football playoff from a ranking standpoint. But this Pitt game, man, if I'm a Pitt player, I hear my head coach talking about we could get beat by 100 and I wouldn't care. That may not sit as well with me going down the stretch here. We got a college game day in town. So to put a finer point, I think Notre Dame is in a good spot and kind of playing their best ball at the right time.
Can we get a big picture check on Notre Dame? Like, they lose to Miami, they lose to Texas A&M, and then your win to hang your hat on is USC. How do you feel about their place in college football right now, and then their place in this college football season?
You know, I'm actually okay with where they're ranked and how they're being perceived, because I think what the committee is doing, having them at 9, is they're saying we're factoring in your losses as well as your wins. And that's not to use the verbiage of, oh, good loss, but I think more so, hey, we see the good things you're doing in those losses. So, like, yeah, losing to A&M, we're going to dock you for that. But let's all be honest, if that's a good hold, we see A&M and Notre Dame go to overtime more than likely, and that's an awesome game to finish in overtime. Maybe Notre Dame still loses. But I think the committee's not just saying, well, a loss is a loss, screw you, Notre Dame. I think the fact they're looking at that and saying we see you doing good football team things, and we see the way that you're progressing and things like that, that I think is the right angle for Notre Dame. Also, let's say this, I think Notre Dame's a pretty trustworthy team as it stands right now, based on what we know about them. Like, the teams behind them in Texas and Oklahoma, like, none of us knew what Arch Manning was a couple of weeks ago. Like, we thought some publications called him college football's first flop. Like, we weren't sure what Oklahoma was after Ole Miss. How hurt is John Mateer? Hey, that defense, how good are they really? So I think those level of questions are a little bit more urgent, and we haven't had like a super urgent pressing question around Notre Dame at this point in the season that I can count, at least at this point.
Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa to play the Tide. 5.5 is the number on this game. We talked a little bit about Alabama, but how do you feel Oklahoma matches up?
It's funny, like I still think Alabama wins, but Oklahoma and John Mateer, like they are the exact profile of what has given Kalen DeBoer trouble. Like the quarterbacks that have beaten him, Diego Pavia, Nico Iamaleava, Jackson Arnold, Thomas Castellanos, all got a little wiggle to them, all got a little bit of design quarterback run, ad-lib potential to them. That's John Mateer. And also I think that Oklahoma has better weapons to go with what John Mateer is. Like the combination of quarterback talent plus weapon talent, I think they're actually going to be a little bit that plus like the stakes going to make Oklahoma frisky. So that's something to watch for, but I still think Alabama wins for the Ty Simpson effect, but it's going to be a burn the boats kind of approach from OU, man. So I'm excited for it. Texas
at Georgia.
Yeah, that's a great way to tee it up, honestly. Like that's all you need to say. Those two logos, those two teams. Yeah. If Texas can beat Georgia, that's where this whole thing is on and popping. Because at that time, if you're Texas, you're looking in the mirror saying, okay, we can go to Athens and beat that team. What can't we do? I still think that ultimately the Gunnar Stockton Georgia offensive firepower is going to be the difference. I don't think that if you're Arch Manning, you like chasing points in Athens, which is what I think they'll ultimately have to do. But if Texas can play complementary around Arch, here we freaking go. So I like Georgia to win, but excited to see what Arch looks like here against a better defensive coordinator in Schumann and Kirby Smart.
All right, I'll tee this one up for you. Like, what's your perception of what's going on in Baton Rouge the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, how long do you have, Hunt? Like, what are we
got a few minutes.
Working with here? Yeah, I mean, it's the whole buyout thing is just kind of a tough look. Like, honestly, I know Brian Kelly's far from the most popular person right now in Baton Rouge, but if I had a buyout right around $50 million, I'd probably say no to a negotiation with that too, just to be honest. I'm just curious to see who they go after here, Hunt. I'm curious to see what the profile is of the person they go after here. I saw something from Pete Nakos today before we went on the air ourselves that working on an extension with Jeff Brom at Louisville, and like Lane Kiffin to me still kind of feels like a weirdish get. I think he'll stay at Ole Miss. Like I don't know who the right win the press conference / is going to be a better head coach resume wise guy for you than Brian Kelly. So that's not really addressing the wild stuff that's gone on in Baton Rouge with the governor and the AD getting fired and all that. Like that's just kind of poison to the water.
Do you think that matters?
Job. I think it matters so much as it matters to a coach. Like personally me, if I see the governor getting involved and I got a job at Ole Miss and I'm like Kiffin, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm good on that. I'll kind of just keep doing my thing. It's like the dysfunctional nature of it is something that scares me when it comes to the next candidate.
So, I mean, as you look at LSU in comparison to Florida, in comparison to Penn State, in comparison to Auburn, maybe Florida State, if they jump in the mix as well, like, how do you feel about it?
I feel like I'm still swinging the biggest bat, but I have the most questions to answer. Like, I am the most attractive job, but I also come with the most baggage at this point. Like, I think Auburn's the job you could win the quickest at, if we're going to be real. Like, if you hire someone before the playoff and you get someone to retain that talent, and you keep DJ Durkin, it's like, okay, let's go. But if you're talking about, hey, we could see this thing going down the road for a minute here, we could grow old together, let's go ahead and build a life together, I think LSU is the job that has the most juice there.
All right, he's J.D. Pickell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports. Wherever you find your podcast, just search The Hard Count. You can certainly find him on 3's YouTube channel. He's here every single Wednesday. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a great one.
Sure will. We'll talk more LSU and Arkansas as we move forward in the week. I didn't feel like that was necessarily the most pressing issue to get to JD on, so just wanted his thoughts. I think it's good sometimes to get outside the bubble, and I would concur with him that no matter what actually is going on at LSU, like the perception of what's going on does matter. And if you've got coaches that are looking at that and the perception is it's a disaster, like that matters. Maybe it's not. It looks like it. And if it looks like you're haggling a coach for no reason over a buyout because you're pinching pennies, maybe they're not. Maybe they really have something. Maybe they are because they're stretched thin cash-wise. But if it looks like you're doing that, it's not a good look. So perception matters, and the perception is bad. And you're talking to a guy who's based out of Nashville who talks about every college football team under the sun, and he's saying, I don't think that looks that great. Like, you have to fight that. And now, I think Verge Osbury's job he's still someone who's going to search for a coach. He's looking, but he's also recruiting. Like, he's also pitching LSU in a time where it feels very uncertain. So it's just a lot to unpack there. Appreciate JD for giving us a little bit of time. SEC football power rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them on the website, genesisofbatonrouge.com. Looking for a rental? They got you covered. They can get you into a rental for Thanksgiving if you're going on a road trip. They can get you into a rental for Christmas if you're going on a road trip. Don't want to put the miles on your vehicle, and at the same time thinking, maybe I'd like to get behind the wheel of a Genesis, see how that might drive. They've got you covered from the sedan perspective. They've got you on the SUV. GV80 is awesome. It's perfect for small family, great for a road trip. And it might be great for you as your next vehicle. If you'd like to get the opportunity to drive it, maybe an extended drive, you can rent one, and maybe that turns into a purchase. And if you do make that purchase, it will come with America's best warranty. And part of that is 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. Nobody likes handling maintenance on their vehicle, so Genesis will help you do it on their own. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're airline at Pickell. You can find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up.
I see a number that surprises me on the Twitter machine here. Stuart Mandel from The Athletic. Now it makes more sense. I misread the tweet. It said week 11 most watched college football games. LSU Alabama topped that list at 7.5 million. I thought it was on the season. Just week 11. Yeah, I can see that. Primetime, SEC, LSU, Bama. Indiana, Penn State drew 6 million. Oregon, Iowa drew 5.4. A&M, Missouri 4.9. They weren't. I just completely misread the graphic, which hurts. Yeah, makes sense that most of the people watch LSU, Alabama. Time slot, brands, reasonably close game. Makes a lot of sense. So LSU and Bama, most watched games. So 7.5 million people watched LSU not score touchdowns. Super awesome. Let's do power rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings.
Texas A&M! I'm pretty convicted in this. I think they're the best team in the conference. I would find a hard time to argue otherwise at this point. You would have to go to the schedule, I would think. But A&M's number one in the nation in third down defense. They're number 3 in the conference in rushing offense. They're number 4 in the conference in yards per attempt passing. They really don't have a huge weakness. I'm grossed out by it, but they're very, very good.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
I am concerned about Alabama running the ball and stopping the run. I am. I'm concerned about those two things. But right now, they haven't lost since Labor Day weekend. Their quarterback is playing excellent football. They do have talent. They got weapons on the outside. And most importantly, with their quarterback, he's stretching the field. He's making big plays, and he's not turning the ball over ever. He has 1 interception. LSU got him for a strip sack on Saturday, but Simpson's really good. He gives him a chance there at 2.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Dogs keep on hunting. Good enough. Not great against Florida. We'll see. They got Texas coming to Athens this week. Another chance to make a statement offensively about Gunnar Stockton and what they can do to score some points. And you always feel like the defense is going to be pretty good under Kirby. So I've got Georgia at 3.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Rebels are number 4 nationally in total offense. They're headed for 11-1. I don't have anywhere else to put them here but number 4.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Top 5 has not changed from last week. Oklahoma is number 7 in the nation in total defense. They're number 7 in the nation in scoring defense. It's a very, very good defensive unit that I thought did a great job in Knoxville a couple of weeks ago to get that win. We'll see what they can do in Tuscaloosa defensively. They can maybe step up, and they can make their path to the playoff realistic if you can win this game in Tuscaloosa. Just probably have to beat LSU at the end there. I like this Oklahoma team on defense, and Mateer is healthier now. that Texas game was a weird one because he was bleeding out of his hand. So I think Oklahoma's good. I kept him at 5.
The Texas Longhorns.
I kept Texas at 6. Top 6 has not changed at all. I think Texas is looking better offensively the last 3 weeks. You figured Sark would figure something out with Arch Manning. And then their defense is very talented. Is it as dominant as we may have thought? I don't know. I mean, Vanderbilt scored all their points when it felt like garbage time, even when it wasn't. Texas is okay. I got them at 6.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Flaws for everybody from here on down. I moved the Vols up a couple of spots here. I think Aguilar's a good passer, not a great one. I think their running game is good, not great. I think their defense is fine. Again, this is where it gets into some flawed teams, and I think Tennessee is as good as the rest of the flawed teams.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Bumped Vanderbilt down 1 from the Texas loss a couple weeks ago. They're right there in the middle of the pack. I think right now I'm going to pick Tennessee to beat Vanderbilt next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say. So that's why I've got Tennessee ranked ahead of Vanderbilt. But they're what and what. If that game was, I'm not even going to say Nashville because that'll have more Tennessee fans than Vanderbilt fans. If they played in Tempe, Arizona, I think it would be a close game, but I like Tennessee a little bit more right now.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri drops 1 spot. You don't have their quarterback, okay? So I don't know what to make of that. You're throwing a freshman out there and asking him to make plays. That's a tough thing to do. They ran the ball pretty well in the second half against Texas A&M, which was decent, but they were never really in that game, and the defense got gashed, and that's supposed to be their strength. So I backed up Missouri a spot tonight.
The LSU Tigers.
Everyone behind LSU kind of stinks, so I've got LSU at 10th. I don't feel great about it, but the defense played pretty well on Saturday. So, again, like, you think of yourself like, oh, this LSU offense is really bad. They're probably worse than 10th. Listen to the teams that come behind them. I don't know that you can make that case.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
I got State at 11. They've won 1 league game in 2 years. They play hard. Chapin's pretty good. Levy's good play caller. Their defense is bad, but it's improved. It's not good, but they're 11th.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas hasn't won a game yet. They're 0-for in the league. They lost their last 7 games. Their defense is so bad. The offense is good, but this is 12th. They haven't won a game yet. That's why I struggle. Put LSU a lot further back.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks are bad. What do you want me to tell you about it? Lenore Sellers doesn't look very good. They can't run the ball at all. They fired their offensive coordinator. Defense gets gashed. They're 3-6 on the year. They're going to get crushed in College Station on Saturday. They stink.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Credit to Kentucky. They've been 16 for a month, and I had to move them because they've won their last 2 games. They beat Auburn. They beat Florida. They didn't just beat Florida. They crushed Florida. They made the move, and they put a better quarterback in there. You got Cutter Beloy in there. He's been better. They're not good, but they're not 16th anymore. I've got them at 14.
The Florida Gators.
Florida is 15th. They dropped 4 spots. You cannot go to Lexington, Kentucky in the big grocery store and get emasculated by a team that should be firing its coach and is terrible. And that's what happened to Florida. This has got to be rock bottom for the Napier era, although that's over. You look at DJ Lagway getting benched. That was unthinkable in August. They're bad. They played Georgia tough. They got a win over Mississippi State. Whatever. They stink.
The Auburn Tigers.
They're 1-6, and their last game is Bama. So that's the worst team I got. Maybe Florida's worse, but Florida does have a couple of wins. Auburn's got 1 in Fayetteville, and they had to change quarterbacks to do it. They played some close games. They played close at Oklahoma, played close in College Station. I got them at 16. I think they're the worst. That's my SEC Power Rankings. Texas A&M at number 1, Alabama at number 2, Georgia at number 3, Ole Miss at number 4. Those are my playoff teams right now. Oklahoma could work their way into that mix with a win against Alabama. They're 5th. Texas 6th. That did not change. Moved Tennessee up a little bit. Vanderbilt drops back to 8. You got Missouri at 9. LSU's at 10. And I really don't like it all group behind LSU. Mississippi State 11. Arkansas 12. I realize that South Carolina is at 13. Kentucky's at 14, Florida at 15, Auburn at 16. It's, 10 through 16 is a rough scene, and 1 through 5 are legitimate playoff contenders. I'm not going to put Texas in a legitimate playoff contender spot right now because they have 2 losses. They're at Georgia this week, and they still have to play Texas A&M. So I think they're going to lose 2 more games. Technically, they're still in it because they only have 2 losses. And if you win those 2 games, you're in. 10-2, win at Georgia, beat Texas A&M, in. But right now, I can't do that. So I've got Texas out at number 6. But that's my look with the SC Power Rankings.
How are you feeling about, the Alabama-Oklahoma game this weekend? Because that's going to have some big implications.
I think Bama will beat them in Tuscaloosa. I think they'll score some. I haven't decided on the number. I think it's 5.5. I haven't made that call yet, but I think Bama wins the game in Tuscaloosa. I'm a little wishy-washy on Bama at the very top of the sport. Maybe I'm grading them on the last 17 years instead of this year, which is unfair. But it's hard for me to look at Bama. They couldn't run on LSU last week. Just couldn't run the ball. Hand off into a brick wall.
They look like us.
Right, and I know LSU's got some decent players on the front 7, but when I think of a championship Bama team, they're running the ball. Yeah. They're going to run the football. They're going to run it on Ohio State. They're going to run it on Georgia. They're going to run the ball. They can't run the ball. So you're going to ask Ty Simpson to do everything? He's doing it right now, but that's a lot. And I think you can run it on Bama. I thought LSU would. They stink running the ball. Georgia ran for 220 on them. That's concerning when you start playing those really good teams. You play A&M, you play Ohio State, you let them run for 220, it's going to be hard to win. So I think Bama's good. I'm a little wishy-washy on them at 2, but again, I'm not going to put Georgia ahead of them. They went to Athens and punked them. So it is what it is. That's a look at your power rankings here on this Wednesday. We'll step aside, finish it up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
But not before I tell you about the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. Look, storm season is done, and that's awesome. It was quiet around here. We love that. But you always know that another one's coming. And the time to think about your policy for a hurricane is not September 15th when that storm's in the Gulf because you don't have an opportunity to change things. Time to think about it is now. It's low pressure, low stress. You can shop it around and make sure that you get what you need. Make sure your building valuations are right. Make sure there aren't co-insurance penalties that are going to hurt your insurance payout. Make sure that you don't have property that's not listed, or make sure that you don't have a deductible that you're uncomfortable with. Make sure your business interruption limit is right, that you're going to be paid when you're not allowed to work. All these things are vital in a property policy, and they are going to come into play in this side of the world. Like if you live down here in the Gulf Coast, you need to have preparedness for a hurricane in your insurance program. Trust the Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carbo and his team, to make sure that you're taken care of in the event of a storm. You don't have to worry about the stress of getting it done under the gun right now because we're out of storm season. But you need to know and have the peace of mind when that next storm season rolls around that you're covered. So if you want to do that now, talk to the Highland Insurance Group. Have that conversation. Let them shop with their dozens of contracted carriers to make sure that you're in the right place with your property policy. Market's tough down here in South Louisiana. You know that as a business owner. Trust the Highland Insurance Group to navigate those waters with you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to get in the pool of your dreams. Maybe the outdoor kitchen you've always wanted. BuiltByRenaissance.com. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Give you Joey Blanchard's cell phone number. He's the owner of Renaissance Homes and Pools. He can help you out. It's 225-252-7745. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Now, I had to pull a fast one on the Myers man this morning, Jordan.
Oh, man. What happened?
So his mom, very adamant, got to get the flu shot because got the little one, the 8-month-old. So she got one, the 8-month-old got one, and then she sent me and Myers to get ours. So I can't tell him about it. But I did on the way out before we were leaving, let him pick one of the Halloween candies out. I didn't tell him why we were doing that, but to get in the car. So we got in the bucket, got the Halloween candy he wanted, picked out some Lifesaver gummies that he wanted.
I love Lifesaver
So we get in the car, we go, and he said, why are we going this way? Well, we're just going somewhere else.
Taking a trip.
We're going to the doctor. Okay. Why are we going to the doctor? And I said, to make sure we don't get sick. So we go in. He doesn't know. He's bouncing off the walls. He's just with his dad, whatever. So we go in, and we're in. The nurse calls us back. I pull up my sleeve on my jacket, and I said, watch. And so they give me the shot, which I don't love it either, but it's what it is what it is. It's like, and I looked at him, and at this point, we've been talking about the doctor for 30 minutes, talking about treats for 20 minutes. Said, okay, you want a donut? And he was like, yes, loves chocolate donuts with sprinkles. All right, now it's time for you to get your shot.
Yeah.
His eyes about fell out of his head.
Yeah.
So the nurse has already got it already. So we pull the pants down, plop up.
Oh.
She goes in. She's and she goes in with a stick. He screamed like nothing I've ever heard in my life. And it was like full. It looked like a cartoon where the cartoon kids' eyes come out, and the head shakes and rattles. It was a tough scene, but she was quick. I was like, all right, do we want a donut? It's all over. But it was quite a morning. But he enjoyed the donut with sprinkles.
As a needle hater, I definitely understand where he comes from. And honestly, you should have rewarded him with some McDonald's after the fact. Don't forget the donuts. I need a Happy Meal after the fact.
He wants a donut, chocolate donut with sprinkles. That's the kid. But he got the Lifesaver gummies, got the chocolate, and he was actually fine walking out of there.
Oh yeah, no, so once it's over and done,
and we called his mom in the car on the way out. And he was like, yeah, Mom, I cry very loud. I cry very loud. I'm like, yes, he did cry very loud, but we got through it. But it's the only way to do it. If I had told him an hour out, he would have been miserable for an hour.
Oh, for sure.
He'd learned. But between the time I told him it was time to get a shot and the shot was out of his leg was 23 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the way it's got to be.
But it's the longest 23 seconds, though.
It's a long 23 seconds for him. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Might have to start things a little early on Saturday. It's 11:45 kick. I don't know if you want to be slugging, triple IPAs at 9 o'clock in the morning. How about a light beer to get your day started on Saturday? Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Perfect for pregame coming up on Saturday, LSU and Arkansas. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, we're going to kick this one off. We got a lot to do today. So Eagles star wide receiver A.J. Brown was on stream with his streamer Janky Rondo last night, and he said during the stream, if you have me in fantasy football, just go ahead and get rid of me. And Rondo, asked him a couple things. So AJ said again, yeah, my family's good. Everything else, a bleep show. Will AJ Brown be with the Eagles next season? Take it or leave it?
Leave it. And I just don't know how that happens. He's on a huge contract. The team's really good. I don't understand what is so appalling about what's going on. I obviously don't know. I'm not in the Eagles practice facility. I don't know what his relationship's like with the coach or whatever, but it just feels like it should be okay. You just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some element in professional sports that if we're winning, things are pretty good. They're winning. Things obviously are not good, and I just don't really get that.
I don't get it either, but we're going to see how it plays out. Thankfully, I didn't draft him in fantasy football. Shout out Taylor Sharp. With Jackson Dart Brain currently being out of commission, the New York Giants are going with they're not going with Russell Wilson, but instead, Jameis Winston will get his first start of the season. Is this finally the end of Russell Wilson? Take it or leave it?
Take it. I think that's right. I mean, another franchise. It's like I'm good. You've been through Seattle to Denver to Pittsburgh. Now you're in New York, and that's about the end of the line. I mean, he's a monster personality to bring in to be a backup quarterback. So exactly. I think that's probably the end of the line.
Over with. So Jake Paul is back in the news as he is finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December against two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. Will Jake Paul finally get his respect? Take it or leave it?
Leave it. I don't know. Does he ever win in these fights? I don't watch him.
They're like,
does he win?
Relatively, you can't say he wins. Now, are they authentic wins? We don't know. But yeah, he's won. I mean, he knocked out Nate Robinson, even though that's Nate Robinson.
The NBA player that's like 5'4"?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. It's Nate Robinson. It wasn't Anthony Joshua, two-time heavyweight champion.
I'm going to pass on all that. I'm out.
All right, so Braves catcher Drake Baldwin won Rookie of the Year. Cade Horton was robbed. Take it or leave it?
Take it. Ridiculous. Unfathomable that Drake Baldwin would win this award. 274 with 19 homers and an 810 OPS. That's a mediocre season. Cade Horton,
what do you have?
in the second half, had one of the greatest second halves in the history of Major League Baseball. He made 12 starts and posted an ERA of 1.03. He was the best pitcher in, not rookie, best pitcher in the National League in the second half in the middle of a pennant race. Unfathomable that Drake Baldwin won this award.
Nah, you actually have a good point to make. That's crazy. So, last but not least, Paul Skeens will win the NL Cy Young tonight. Take it or leave it.
I will take it. Paul Skeens will get that award. He was in a dogfight with Zach Wheeler into August, and then Wheeler had the blood clot and missed the rest of the season.
Yep.
Skeens kept on rolling. He's made history in Pittsburgh with the numbers that he has put up there, and he'll be rewarded with the Cy Young tonight. Just a matter of time before they get him out of Pittsburgh, but he's got to deal with it for a couple more seasons, probably. Yankees, Giants, Dodgers, Red Sox.
Dodgers, yeah. Well, he's not Japanese. He's not Japanese.
Cubs, yeah.
He's not going to the Dodgers.
The Cubs would never pay him because he's going to command $380 million. But, yeah, he'll win the NL Cy Young tonight. That'll be cool. That's it for a Wednesday show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. If you missed any of it, catch us on demand. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. Have a safe and happy Wednesday. We're back tomorrow with the Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.